You have a tremendous power as an individual, and we all do. Kids do, grown-ups do.
We all have a voice.
Exactly, and that not only social entrepreneurs can be responsible for creating this new and better world, it needs to be everyone.
Well, this is why I'm doing
We
this
saw an opportunity where we knew that there were a lot of proven solutions to how to integrate, how to let people come in, support more than 3,500 social entrepreneurs across 89 countries.
Incredible. Hi, it's Kathy Wong here, your host and producer of Crazy Dreamers TV. And I'm here sitting in Oslo in a cafe. I hope it's not too noisy. And I'm here with Helga Tunda, who is the country director of Ashoka. Now, I know you might be asking, what is Ashoka? Well, that's what we're going to cover. When I first started my journey as a social entrepreneur, I actually went and looked for the definition of a social entrepreneur. Because as some of you know, there's a lot of different versions of that word. So I took the Ashoka version. I'm going to get now Helga to explain to you that definition. Hi, Helga.
Hi, nice to meet you, Kathy.
Yeah, you
Thanks
too.
for having me.
Oh, look, thanks for doing this for us. So let's start with that, shall we?
Yeah, so I can say what we mean by social entrepreneur. It's someone who uses entrepreneurial methods to solve a big problem in the world, a societal or environmental problem. So it means that you measure your success in your social effect, and not mainly in your financial results.
Right, yeah, that really, to me, is the clearest definition that I have seen, and that's why I've taken that same definition. Now, how long has Ashoka been going for?
So we've been around for nearly 40 years. We started in 1980, so it makes us the oldest organization for social entrepreneurship in the world.
Yes.
We've also grown to be the largest during those years. So we support more than 3,500 social entrepreneurs across 89 countries.
Incredible, and that was started by Bill Drayton?
It was in 1980. Bill Drayton started meeting people that he thought, these are entrepreneurs, but they're really
They're a bit weird.
They're different. What is it that makes them different? And it was this urge to create a better world, and they did that in all sorts of fields. And he thought, okay, there's one thing that they truly need, and that's network. So let me go ahead and create that for them. And that's how we started what is now called our fellowship program, which is still the core of what we do in Ashoka all across the world, where we select leading social entrepreneur into our fellowship program, mainly to have a community of other social entrepreneurs and a network that's powerful, that makes you both be able to gather best practices from others, find a community for you, and also connect across borders.
It's so important. I know that, I talk about this all the time, about this importance of connection and support and collaboration. But what was Bill's background?
Bill used to be in McKinsey, actually.
So management consultant? Right.
Exactly.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah. And we still see that a lot of the structures from those days have helped us a lot.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, they're one of the top management firms in the world, aren't they? So tell me a little bit about what you're seeing in the area of, Norway, obviously, because that's, the area that you're looking after.
Right.
Foremost, obviously, you're involved in all the different, I suppose, countries. But tell me about what's happening in Norway with this, situation around social entrepreneurship.
Right. So I came into the scene 4 years ago, and a lot has happened since. Then there were quite few actors. Fard has been a really big driver. It's a private company here in Norway that's been a true driver of social entrepreneurship. But there weren't a lot of other actors. And then now we see, which we greatly celebrate, that there is a growing ecosystem. So both we see organizations popping up that are interested in supporting social entrepreneurs at different levels, from idea stage up to mature stage. Businesses start incubators. Funders have started coming to the area to snoop around to see if there's any way that they can get involved and fund or co-produce something with social entrepreneurs. So we see that there has been a momentum created just these last few years. It's been incredible to watch.
Fantastic, isn't it? But also, I suppose I'm really interested because what I've learnt so far in the short time I've been here is, you know, being the country that you are, where there's quite a lot of wealth, you don't have the same sort of, it's called a welfare state, isn't it? So that already makes it a different setup, right, to lots of other countries in the world.
Yeah. So I think that makes us, it's a great question because I think it makes us different. Children and youth is a very big area for organizations and individuals to work here in Norway, and that's how it's been always. It's always been acceptable and something that's wanted for people to get engaged in the kids. So we see that as still a very strong area, but this is also a global trend.
Definitely,
And then being a social entrepreneur in other fields like health or that might be a little bit more difficult. The openness might not be quite the same because we're not used to private initiatives coming and kind of meddling in what is normally a quite solid system. But we see, and I think the openness that we have started seeing now is that we really want to maintain our strong welfare state, and this is across the Nordic region. But we see that it's under pressure, and what we've started realizing is that that needs to be a co-creation between the public and the private and individuals in these countries, and that's possible. So instead of having a resistance against new ideas coming in, there's started to become more of an openness of, okay, let's co-create what the future of our society is going to look like. And that's super exciting.
That's really exciting because, I spoke to another social entrepreneur recently, Lisa Cooper, and I asked the question around, you know, given that there are so many initiatives within the government to look after its people, you know, how does that then impact social entrepreneurship? And when she started was, you know, very, very early days, and she actually said it was quite difficult because, you know, there was this mentality of, well, you know, the government should be looking after that. Why do we need to look after that? And so she was, I think, kind of like one of the pioneers trying to have to break through that, you know. So it's fascinating how you see different cultures and, you know, how the governments are. And I read a report recently, actually, I think it was 2017, so very recent, where it spoke about the government here in Norway really wanting to work more with social enterprises to solve some of the issues that are going on, which is great.
And I think this is something, if I can drag the conversation into the European sphere a little bit. What we've seen and experienced is that the migration crises that came some years ago.
You mean the Syrian situation?
Which also caused a lot of migration across many other countries, really put us in a spot where we saw that, okay, our systems are really solid, but they're not made for robust for everyone and everything. And we saw an opportunity where we knew that there were a lot of proven solutions to how to integrate, how to let people come into new countries in a good way, how to create welcoming societies, a lot of different solutions that we knew worked, but they didn't scale as fast as they should. And we started an initiative that's now called Hello Europe that we're actually launching soon in the Nordic region, but has gone through many countries and still do, where we invite proven solutions to come and we assist in the scaling of them, try to get investors involved, but also local governments or other people that can own the problems and really seek new solutions. And that's been super powerful as a proof of how the private individuals start initiatives and they can truly scale them and show that there are opportunities that you might be blind to as a system, but once you open up, there can be a co-creation of this new future that's more robust and better for everyone.
I love the whole co-creation side. And the other thing that I love about Ashoka, if you could speak to us about that for a moment, is how you define change maker.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's been, thanks for asking. This has been a journey for us where we started building the field of social entrepreneurship, and then saw that now that that's starting to really grab a hold in a lot of the world, what's our next step? And we saw that not only social entrepreneurs can be responsible for creating this new and better world, it needs to be everyone.
Well, this is why I'm doing this show, because, you know, we need everybody to be on board and everybody has the capacity to do something, right?
Exactly. And what we see now, we used to say we want to create a change maker world, so our vision is everyone a change maker. But what we realize now is it isn't everyone a change maker world. Individuals do have the power. You can travel around with your camera and reach however many people. You have a tremendous power as an individual, and we all do. Kids do, grown-ups do.
We all have a voice.
Exactly, and knowing what our vision is that you know, which you very obviously do, and others know that they can be a force for good. So living for the common good. If you're a dentist, you can do something that's of importance in that role, not just drilling down in teeth, but also like understanding what's the ecosystem I'm within and how can I affect that and influence that in a powerful way. And so this is important for everyone to know, but we also focus on kids and youth really gaining changemaker experiences.
Topic very dear to my heart.
Right,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
you know, say you're just a little kid and then suddenly you're able to go to your local community and say, I know I have a problem here, but I also have a solution. I have an idea, let me try it. And for every child and young person to have had that experience of creating solutions and being a change maker from their very little, using their empathy, using their leadership skills, collaborating with others, so important.
And it's just so powerful, isn't it? Because I know on your website you mentioned that, you know, if a child or teen gets involved in volunteering or working on, you know, problems in this way, that then there's a very high I mean, could you just, I'm trying to remember exactly how they went.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you get engaged in something during your youth, then it's much more of a likelihood that you're going to also get engaged as an adult.
That's
so it
right.
radically changes your outlook on life and your outlook on yourself and what opportunities you have as a human being to be a force of good.
Yeah, and I'm always saying to, you know, the youth, get involved now, because also you have access to so many more resources when you're younger.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we're only talking about this earlier, how everything is more, you know, challenging when you're older, meeting people, for instance. And so, you know, what I'm seeing is with a lot of these youth, they start when they're young in school or uni, and so by the time they finish, they've already got a business. And so, you know, they don't have to struggle as much as somebody who's coming from ground zero with nothing. Yeah. So just, I suppose the last piece I'd love to hear from you about is, are you able to give us any insights into what's happening on the world scene in this area?
Right, so I think if I were to point to some trends, I think I've already mentioned some, but what we see globally is that social entrepreneurs really have a heavy focus on young people, children and young people now, and I think that's for a reason.
Yeah.
In a rapidly changing society, that's where we see that we need to put a lot of effort to create a better world. I think it's also super interesting to see how huge it is with empowerment as a tool for creating better lives for people. Empowering individuals, but also empowering communities and groups to really take charge of their lives and creating solutions for themselves. And I'm very optimistic seeing those things and knowing what we know about the importance of change making.
Yes.
I think those are components that are going to make it more positive for us to go into the future.
Well, look, that's been wonderful, Helga. Thank you so much for sharing all that information. And
Thanks for asking.
Well, no, it's been wonderful, and I feel so full of hope as well, as you've said. So, guys, that's been another episode of Crazy Dreamers TV, and you can hear, you know, from Helga. You can also hear another passionate crazy dreamer, and it's really great, isn't it, knowing that, you know, the whole business is really starting to, government is, everyone's starting to really embrace this whole world of social entrepreneurship and change makers. And so we can all do something. That's what I'd like to leave you with now. Anyway, until next time, keep well. I look forward to seeing you again. Crazy dreaming, guys. Bye.
Crazy dream. Crazy dream. Here I am with that dress.